back with another movie review, the third one this weekend. This one for the king of Staten Island. I was looking forward to this movie. I like Judd Apatow as a filmmaker. He's made some very good comedies. I liked the trailer. I thought it looked really good and really heartfelt. I like Pete Davidson. I know that's kind of controversial. I think Pete Davidson is funny. Does he fit the mold of what an iconic SNL performer should be? No, but SNL isn't really funny anymore. When you think about it, who was the last great original character to come from Saturday Night Live? Stefan? Bill Hader? That was like 8 years ago. I think in general, his sketches on that show work more than they don't. At least he's not involved in obnoxious, unfunny political sketches that show is intent on doing every week. And whether you like him or not, you don't become the youngest cast member ever on like one of the most famous comedy shows of all time without having some sort of talent. I think the guy's funny. I like him. And this film is good. We made it. We made it. It only took, 6 or 7 movies? But I am finally reviewing a good movie on this channel. Woo! It's about time. I didn't love it. It has flaws, and I'll talk about those in a second, but I am going to start off with the compliments. I think Pete Davidson is really good in this movie. Does he have a ton of range as an actor? No, but they're not asking him to be Christian Bale, and I know there's going to be a lot of people who are going to say, well, he's just playing himself. But even that requires a level of talent, you know, and you can't just pluck any person off the street and say, hey, I want you to play themselves. You know, that takes a level of ability as an actor, and I give him credit for taking on this role. I think he does a very good job. I think it's well directed. Judd Apatow's films have a tendency to look very good, and this one is no exception. I think the best part of this movie is the supporting cast, though. I really liked all these people. Marissa Tomei as his mom, she's always wonderful. She's one of our finest actresses, and I thought she was very good in this. Maude Apatow, Judd Apatow and Leslie Mann's daughter, plays Pete Davidson's sister in this movie. You know, Judd Apatow is one of those guys you want to dislike because he casts all his friends and all his family in his movies, but all his friends and all his family just happen to be really talented people, so you can't complain about it, really. I think she is wonderful. I think she's very pretty. I think she has range. I think she has charisma. I think she's funny. I think she's nuanced and vulnerable. I think she's going to be a really big star in movies. She got the looks from her mother's side, clearly. No disrespect to Judd Apatow, but I think she's going to be a big star, and I think she's one of the better parts of this movie. I actually get kind of like Emma Stone vibes off of her, and if you know how I feel about Emma Stone, you know that is the highest of praise. I think she's wonderful. Steve Buscemi is in this movie for like 5 scenes, as is customary with Steve Buscemi. He comes on and steals almost every scene that he's in. He is one of our finest actors, one of the most underappreciated character actors of our time. Bill Burr. I mean, if you know Bill Burr at all as a comedian, you know he's like one of the funniest men in the world. He has a hysterically funny podcast. Every time he appears on Joe Rogan, he makes me laugh my ass off. Here, he's one of my favorite parts of it. He's kind of sort of playing the straight man, but one of the things I appreciated about this movie is that it shows that everyone in this film is just as messed up as Pete Davidson in their own way, and I think Bill Burr does a great job here. Once again, is he asked to do a whole lot in terms of range as an actor? No, but he showed more range than I expected him to, and I think Bill Burr is going to continue to be one of the most popular, famous comedians in the world, not just because he's hysterically funny, but because he's a talented performer as well. I do have some complaints about the movie. You know, one thing I do have to address is that the film is 2 hours and 16 minutes. I've complained on here already about some films that I've reviewed being too long. For a comedy to be 2 hours and 16 minutes is quite a lot. I was never bored by it. But there is a part, especially in the third act, where I felt like it dragged a little bit. It didn't bore me, but I feel like you could cut maybe 10 minutes out of this, and it would have been a tighter narrative. That's a minor complaint, and honestly, for a 2 hour, 16-minute comedy, to hold my interest as much as it did is kind of more of a compliment than it is a complaint. Ultimately, though, the 2 biggest issues I had with it was that I felt like the resolution was a little bit empty. I get what they were going for. They were going for more of a slice of life kind of resolution. You know, very often in life, you don't have that whole aha moment. You know, you just kind of grow. You learn from your experiences and you move on. But I was hoping for something a little bit more cinematic. And because of that, because of how much buildup there was, almost, you know, a 2 hour buildup to the final act of this movie, I was hoping for a bit more of a resolution, something a bit more emotional. And I just didn't really get that. But the biggest issue I have with it is that this film dips its feet into the pond of dealing with mental illness. And this is something I take very seriously. And the opening scene of this movie is a really effective, kind of like takes you back moment of Pete Davidson driving on the highway, closing his eyes, kind of begging to get into an accident, just kind of showcasing his emptiness and his depression. It's a really effective scene to start the movie, and I was hoping that they were going to deal more with that, deal more with his anxiety and his depression and ADD. It's addressed, it's talked about, especially at the beginning, but I felt like they kind of copped out. I felt like they could have gotten really deeper and added that extra layer of emotional depth. I really felt like if this movie would have made me cry, I would have bumped it up a few grades, because very often these are the movies that make me cry, these kind of coming-of-age tales, and I felt like they were setting up for it, and then you get to the end, and it just rings a little bit hollow, but all in all, I still do like this movie quite a bit. I would very much recommend it. It's on demand right now, it's $20 currently. I would recommend having some of your buddies over and watching it. I enjoyed it. It's a 7 out of 10. Is it high art? Is it the best thing I've ever seen? God, no, but it is the Shawshank Redemption compared to some of the garbage I've reviewed on this channel so far. I really like it, and I would recommend it. Dish out the $20, have some of your friends over, and watch it. It's a good time, and had it have come out in theaters, I would have been happy to go see it. I think it's a good film. So that is going to do it for the 3 movie reviews that I've had this weekend. I'll be back here at some point with more reviews. You can follow me on Twitter at Castellani2014. Click that like button. Click that subscribe button. Comment. Let me know what you thought of this review and of this movie. Have you seen it? What did you think? I'm dying to know. Come on, let me know, baby. Let's get that subscriber count up, up, up. Spread the word to your friends, your family, and your other loved ones. I will see you later. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out.